Shalom and welcome to Zion Lexx TV. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, and share the live stream. Become a member of Zion Lexx TV and unlock several hidden features and hidden videos. Also, you can donate to Zion Lexx TV at Cash App $Zion Lexx or via PayPal at zionlex@gmail.com. We also have an online academy entitled Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. Visit us on patreon.com/learntorah. Our Gold tier membership gives you unlimited access to our special event lectures and our special live movie nights. Our Platinum tier gives you unlimited access to our Torah class, Kabbalah class, Patriarchs and Matriarchs of the Covenant classes, as well as understanding the New Testament via the Oral Tradition class. Our Diamond tier gives you unlimited access to all of the previous tiers, as well as our most sought-after class, our Biblical Hebrew course. And finally, our highest tier, our Sapphire tier, gives you unlimited access to all previous tiers, as well as our highly esteemed rabbinical course. Be sure to sign up today and check your tier membership so as to ensure you're getting access to the classes you desire. Thank you for visiting us here at Zion Lexx TV, and now back to our current live stream.
All right, shalom, shalom, family. I hope that everyone is doing well. We have another powerful live stream. I'm greeted once again today by my co-host, Chief Rabbi Mordechai, who has set up an amazing conversation and dialogue that spans continents in this moment, that is going to connect those of us here in America with those of us in Israel, with those of our people who are in the west coast of Africa. And of course, the message continues to spread abroad the world. I am especially looking forward to today's conversation. Without any further ado, I'm going to have the Chief Rabbi introduce our guest of honor and talk about our show for today.
Yeah, so I want to again just thank the creator of the universe for just giving us the opportunity to be in this position to be able to be channels and catalysts to this great discussion, which is the awareness of the lost history of African Americans or as we're defined today as African Americans. As far as I'm aware, and someone can correct me, that Jesse Jackson and a coalition of individuals came together and created the term African American. And before that, we were considered Black, maybe Black Americans. And before that, we were Negroes. Maybe there was a name before that. I'm sure there's a lot of historians. But the question is, and I think something that we should be thinking about as African Americans, or so-called African Americans, or labeled as African Americans, who has the right to define our history? Who has the right to define our identity? I'm a human being. I have the ability to think, I have the ability to read, I have the ability to comprehend, I have the ability to reflect. Why has it been third parties defining my existence, right? Why has it been third parties to define my existence? And at what point does it come where I say, you know what? I don't want you to define me. I want to define me, right? And I believe personally, and Rob Zion could build off of this, is I believe that right now in America there's a big conversation. There's a big conversation about people and genders and all these different things, and I'm not getting into that conversation. But what I will say, if from the traditions that I learned from my parents, and the tradition my parents learned from their grandparents, and the tradition I've learned from my rabbis, men have certain reproductive organs and women have certain reproductive organs.
Come on.
So if someone has the ability to say that their reproductive organs that they have nothing to do with the definition of how they define themselves, I'm not here to debate that. Let the politicians and all these different liberal conservative, but I'm just saying, as an African American who's been called all these different names that have not benefited me at all, that have put me in a lower class, do I have the ability to now redefine myself and say, no, I'm actually a descendant of Israel. I'm descendant of the 12 tribes. I am a descendant of the holiness that God has put into this world. That's what I'm actually a descendant of. So if I have that ability to define myself in that way, Why are you upset about it? Why do people have a problem with us African Americans defining ourselves as a Jew or an Israelite or these different things? Why do we have that problem? Because I have not seen one protest from any of these organizations about the names that the record companies support us calling each other.
Come
Whether
on.
it's the N-word or the degradation of our women, I never hear any issue with that. But as soon as we start talking about who we are in our identity, and we say, "Oh, well, we're Israel," "Oh, well, you sound like the radical groups on the street," it's like, okay, you know what? Today we're going to kill all of that, for lack of a better term. We don't want anything to die, but we're just using the word kill. We're going to destroy that whole consciousness, and we have our brothers.
That's right.
And we may even have our sisters that are actually the people. When they did the transatlantic slave trade, some of us didn't make it and some of us did.
Come
When I
on.
say make it, some of us made it to North America and some of us didn't. So right now we're bringing that connection back together, and we did that. Started with Keish, the president of the Igbo community, or aspects of it, and then now we're continuing that conversation with the Nigerian youth. And so it's important to acknowledge that and connect to that idea, because these people that you see right now, these are my descendants. These are my relatives.
That's right.
Yeah.
These are the people that I come from, and we're going to learn about the traditions that they keep in their land, and how those traditions connect to me, because I need to know who I really am. I need to know who I really come from, and so I need to talk to the people that I come from.
Come on.
Right? So the people that I come from, that's who I'm talking to right now. I don't need any European historian. I don't need any books from Harvard and Cambridge or anything. I just need to talk to my brother. And any forces that have problems with me talking to my brother right now and my sisters about who I am and where I come from, shame on you.
Shame on you.
Shame on you. So with that being said, here are brothers. I'm going to start with Danny. I'm not saying Danny's more important than anybody else, but we're all here talking. And we're going to start with Danny, because we've been building for the last couple of weeks. And please inform us on this amazing platform. Who are you and the organization that you're a part of? Please teach us. We're listening. Danny, it's on you.
Benomen. Like,
Can you guys
unmute
hear?
my mic. I'm trying to
Yeah, you're
unmute.
good. We can hear you now. Yeah, we can hear you. Good.
Okay. Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you so much, Rabbi Mordechai, and I can see Rabbi Zion HaGadol, and my other brothers, Eluzai and Emmanuel. First of all, I want to say it's a pleasure for me to see you and to see somebody like me. The journey of Judaism has been very challenging. Understand? We have been seeing the white all the time, always being the person trying to push us forward. But for me to see you, my color, my brother, it gives me more pleasure and more relaxation as I'm talking to my fellow brother. He can understand me. I can understand him very more. So that is one of the pleasure, and that is one of the things that makes this gathering to be very, very amazing, very, very special. Now I can really see that the future is becoming to be better than we saw yesterday. So that is, first of all, the pleasure. So I want to say to Darabah for this initiative. It's very, very amazing. So I belong to the Nigerian Jewish Youth Movement. It has been an amazing platform where we gather together as brothers. When I started learning about Judaism, because my father started it, they observe it, they practice Judaism, but with limited knowledge and understanding about it. So it happens that when I get to the university in a place far away from my own state, I'm from Akwa Ibom, in the southern part of Nigeria. So when I get there, I met other people. They were knowledgeable than me. I was like, wow, we have other person like this and they are doing the same thing. So we started to learn until when it comes to a point whereby one of our brother from his name is Gadi now came to Nigeria and now said, no, that we are too scattered. We have to come together again. So he brought the idea of the youth Shabbat, the youth gathering together, where all of us come together now and we learn more. I tried to learn more again. Even the Hebrew, I couldn't read Hebrew then, but through that gathering of the youth Shabbat, of the youth gathering, I was able to learn about Hebrew. I was able to learn a lot of things about my Jewish identity as a belief. So that is how everything just started. So the youth movement has been a platform whereby we've tried so much of bringing ourselves together, study from each other, and be moving forward. So that is the organization that I belong, and that is the organization whereby all of us here, God, Emmanuel is the president, and Elozai, all of us belong to. So that is just a brief of it.
So wait,
Shalom.
President Emmanuel.
Yes.
He's on wait, he's on mute. He's on mute.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know. I mute my mic.
President Emmanuel, he's in the house. He's here with us.
Yeah,
Sorry, you got something you
nice
want to
meeting
jump in
you.
real quick on that, or
Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you.
now,
Nice meeting you, Rav Mordechai. And nice meeting you, Rav Sion HaGadol. It's my
Nice meeting
pleasure.
you. Nice meeting you.
so
Yeah, to the
President Emmanuel. So right now what we're doing is many of us, as you know, were people that were sold in the transatlantic slave trade. That we were Igbo, and the other tribes that were Israelites as well on the west of
Yeah.
Africa, and so we got sold over, right? And they told us all these stories like, oh, the Africans, they don't care about you and this, and you guys should be separate, and you guys are American now. And we come to realize like, no, we got to connect to our history, our roots. So talk to
Wow.
us a little bit about this connection of our history with the Israelites and the connection to Moshe, Har Sinai, and Shabbat and Kosher and Yom Tovim and Rosh Chodesh. Teach us about it. How do you know about? Tell us about it.
Okay, let me start from the Torah. I came across in the Torah where uh, the laws of leprosy was instituted in the Torah. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu mentioned that if your skin changes to white and it's deep, it's a sign of leprosy, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So I made some research. I asked question, but I don't receive a concrete answer. I don't get any that is convincing answer to that. I said, okay, if the real Israelite in Bihar Sinai were white, now how can this teaching in the Torah be applied to their skin color?
Come on.
Understand? So you already white, and the law of leprosy says it turns to white. You already white, just like going to a whiteboard, bringing a white marker to write something on the whiteboard. You won't see anything there.
Come on.
So I was kind of why I asked. I made some research. I even brought. I went to our library and I brought this stone edition Kumash, to know what Rashi. There is a Rabbi Moshe. I mean, Rabbi Shlomo Iskaki Rashi. Yeah, what he can say on that, but I didn't get any concrete answer from Rashi. I was kind of so I believe it's kind of political in Judaism, politics in Judaism. So I said, okay, set aside. Then later on in the same Torah, when I studied, I learned when the children of Israel went to Israel, when they sold their brother Joseph to Misraim. Then later on, few years later, they went back to buy food and they could not recognize their brother, right? They could not recognize. Okay, now the currently Egypt is in Africa, and the ancient Egypt is black.
Come on.
Because I study about the pyramids, the Ramses, and the rest. What I see there is black.
That's right.
Then now, if the ancient Israel, I mean the ancient Egypt is black, and Joseph is a white. Understand? Joseph is white. It's easier
Yeah,
to
yeah.
recognize, to identify and recognize Joseph from Egypt. Understand? But the Torah made us know that they could not even recognize Joseph. They didn't recognize him. So meaning that the Torah actually give us the fact that I'm proud to be a black.
Come on.
Even in even in Tanakh, even many places in the Tanakh, like Shlomo Amelech wrote in Shir Hashirim that he's proud to be a black.
That's right.
Understand? Many places in the Tanakh, like in Prophet of I forgot the name. He said like he prophesies that is you looks like you looks to me like Ethiopian. There's one place I read it in one of the afterwards in one of the parasha. At the after of the parasha, it says you are like to me like the Ethiopians, which is black. Understand? So I think that we were scattered in all over the world. Like what happened in the Tanakh when the Assyria conquered the 10 lost tribes. You know, when the kingdom of Israel was divided in the Tanakh, Yehuda and Benjamin have their capital in Jerusalem, while the 10 tribes, the other 10 tribes have their capital in Samaria. So because of their sin, Almighty Akadosh Baruch Hu, scattered them from using Assyria as the tool. When they conquered the 10 tribes, if they come to Sudan, they drop some. If they come carry Sudan and went back to Israel. Come to Nigeria, drop the Igbos, carry the Igbos, carry the people living in Nigeria to back to Israel. So that's what the Assyrian Empire did, according to the Tanakh. So he scattered the main tribes, the 10 tribes, to their many places and took non-indigenous of Eretz Israel back to Israel. So I think that is what really happened. So I'm proud that I'm a black man. I'm not even ashamed. Bless ashamed because this skin is very, 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 very strong skin.
Come on.
I believe that.
That's right.
For
And it's
instance,
beautiful.
I took the pandemic that was all over the world, the COVID-19 that was all over the world a few years ago. I took that for instance. You know, the pandemic they say is in Nigeria, but I didn't see anyone dying in Nigeria for affecting coronavirus. So meaning that our skin is very, very strong skin, and I'm proud of that. So I said I'm not afraid, I'm not ashamed to be a black man. I'm saying I'm using this medium to say you guys are really welcome. I thank Hashem for making you guys realize your origin. Understand?
That's right.
I thank Hashem for making you guys realize your origin. Baruch Hashem, you guys will, Bezrat Hashem, you guys will unite with your brothers here in Africa. Tudaraba.
You got it, Rob Zion. It's on you.
All right. So I want to first and foremost give all praise and honor to the Holy One of Israel. We say the God of our ancient fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, the true and the living God, even the most high God. He is our creator, he's our maker, he's our owner, and he's our possessor. And to him belongs the life of all worlds. We thank him and we praise him for bringing us together once again. We are lost, found due to
Yeah.
exile, due to persecution, due to captivity. Many of us have been separated from our indigenous brothers and sisters in continental Africa, West Africa to be specific, Igbo land to be very meticulous. But as will would have it, as the will of Hashem would have it, here we are today, in the words of my teacher, ready or not, here we come. This is a powerful moment when we can look in the screen right now and recognize that the faces that we're looking at are not simply people on another continent. These are our brothers and these are our sisters. We are your brothers and our sisters are your sisters as well. And so I say to you, brothers, that I am first and foremost very thankful of this introduction. I may not look my age, but I'm 45 years old. And I came into
Wow.
this understanding of what an Israelite is at age 14, right? So that was 30 years ago, right? Almost 31 years ago. And so I say to you guys, for 3 decades, it has taken for me 3 decades to realize what we're about to do in this moment, right? We are the sons and daughters of Israel. There's a narrative that has been dominant in the world that has not taken into account what we have to say. There's a narrative that is spoken throughout the world that doesn't account for our testimony. Our voices aren't being heard on the world stage, but days like this, moments like this, is where that stops. Because the moment that we begin to open our mouth and we speak, the living book of the Almighty God comes alive. We say of the Torah that it is the book of life. This book comes alive, in my humble opinion, when the seed of Israel is speaking it, is teaching it. And it's imperative that we stand authoritatively in that understanding. We are not apologetic in our return to who we are. We are not apologetic about the color of our skin. We can open the Tanakh, as our brother says, and see the color of the matriarchs of the patriarchs. We can look in history and see the color of the children of Israel. And when we advance beyond the conversation of color, we can look into the Torah and be able to see our God, our Maker, our King. So this meeting is important. And I'm not going to say too much initially because I just want to hear from our brothers and sisters that are here right now. And I just want to say that on behalf of Zion Lexx TV, we welcome you all with open arms. And we pray that this dialogue is not simply a dialogue, but a connection that occurs that allows us to cross continents and meet. The chief rabbi is talking about a Pesach, a Passover, that we can keep together in Igbo land, in Nigeria. I hope to see you there. So, on that note, I want to pass the baton, the mic, to our sister that just entered the conversation. I do believe we may have skipped a brother, and I don't want to do that. So, our brother Iluzai, it's on you, and then our sister, it is on you next. So, our brother Iluzai, let's please hear from you.
Okay, shalom.
Shalom.
Okay, it's a wonderful opportunity to hear and meet you guys in person. I'm so happy to be here to be part of this conversation. So, Baruch Hashem. So most times when I pray from in the Siddur, we pray for Geulah, redemption, and gathering of Israel. So it's one of the things that every Israelite looks out to happen, and it's already happening. We can see brothers from all the way trying to trace back to where they are from. It's wonderful. You get so back in the years, I have not been a person obsessed with color, and I'm agnostic about conversations on color. There was a rabbi that came to Nigeria, Rabbi Howard Corey. You might tell of his story and things he did for Nigerians. One thing he did is that He made the Igbos appreciate the Torah. He a very good step he did, and ever since then there has been this inquiry or search about we trying to find out who we are and where we are from. One of the foremost is the one we know that have been going on with Rabbi Pinkas Shadei. He has done a very great deal. I have been following him for some time. I I am usually skeptic about following some rabbi. I don't follow any rabbi I see, but once you have a valid information, I come close to you. I want to learn with you. You get so. Some time ago, when Rabbi Mordechai came close to us, I heard about his plans and intention. I said, okay, this is very nice and good thing to for us to work with. So we all are the sons of Hashem, and we are looking forward to build a sustainable Jewish community here in West Africa. I don't believe in waiting for someone to come to build our Jewish community for me. I don't believe in that. That is why I'm in this conversation.
Come on.
I don't believe in that. I believe that we are not weak. No, huh? The government or things may look the way they look, but it is not us. It is not things that can break our spirit. Emmanuel has said something about how we started the youth Shabbat. So the youth movement in Nigeria is a formidable force for any growth that would happen in Africa. We are that important. I can say it. I can beat my chest and say it anywhere. Yeah, because there is this unity we have. We learn together. People before us, our community before us, used to have our elders before us used to have some time little squabbles among them, but with us as youth, we have come to realize that okay, we can go past beyond this, and the unity is one of the things that can foster community growth. That is why when Daniel Rabbi Mordechai is the one in our group, right? Okay, yeah. So when Rabbi Mordechai tried to join the group, I think I accepted him to the group. You get so once you join the group, you see we have a lot of people there from different places. We might not have um, the same ideology, but we just come together to form that bond to do what the Torah says. I heard what you said, Rav Zion, and what Daniel told me sometime about the plans of Rabbi coming down to Africa or West Africa to do, or Igbo land rather, to do his Pesach. This is exactly what Gadi, someone mentioned about Gadi. Gadi wanted to know about Nigerians and Nigerian Jews in Nigeria. He left Israel. He came. He stayed like a month plus, touring different communities.
Yes.
He's from England, but that young man Gadi did a whole deal that he brought us close to himself and close to Israel, close to our brothers, beyond color. And that's why I'm very happy for the initiative that Rabbi Mordechai is taking, coming down to Igbo land to come and celebrate Pesach. This is one of the ways to bond with your people and close the gap of history. Let me say it that way. To close the gap of history is when you come close, you see your people will see you. We cut off the whole narrative of slavery and all. We cut off. We see ourselves for who we are and embrace ourselves for who we are. I'm open even to further researches on identifying with our roots, with the DNA and every other thing. I've seen in recent years that there are a lot of Igbos who are Jews there in America. I have been seeing and reading about most of them, but I never knew it's going to be a big thing like this. So we are open and ready to welcome every person who is coming down with him so that we can discuss about our shared heritage. We can so that we can form this strong Jewish community, this bond. I believe Hashem is working something great in these later times. To the Rabbi.
Rob Zion, you going to follow up on this?
For the Rabbi. Thank you so much. So yes, I'd like to also add some things. So again, this is a very powerful moment for more reasons than one, because we don't often have the opportunity to speak amongst brothers. And the scheme and plan of white supremacy world over has been to keep us divided. They told us that you didn't want us in Africa, and so you sold us. We now know that that's not the truth. They told us that we're not even bloodline related, that many of us come from other people. We now know that that is not the truth. So the problem that has occurred for centuries that stops and prevents us from uniting is that we've allowed others to come in the midst of us and dictate how we come together. And that should never be. Could you imagine going inside someone else's home, another people, and tell and dictate for them how they should unite one with another? They wouldn't even allow it. In fact, they'd laugh us out the building. But time and time again, we have been subject to allow European colonialists to be the middlemen in our unity. But today, that stops. We are showing that we have the mental fortitude, the spiritual fortitude, right? That we have the intellectual aptitude to do this and get it done. And I know that when we come together and we link our intellectual resources, our cultural resources, our financial resources, that we absolutely will not be stopped. Bezeret Hashem, may it be his will. And so I am very, very proud to be in receipt of our brothers and our sisters this evening. And I know that this community is a powerful community. When we talk about the very name Igbo, we know its linguistic cognate. We know what we're saying when we say the Igbo people. We're talking about the Hebrews. We're talking about Bnei Yisrael, the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the children of Israel. We are all children of the same man and the same woman. We come from the same people, and we cannot allow the separation of a continent to allow us to think that we are different. I'm looking in the screen right now, and you guys look like cousins that I have in the Caribbean. You look like cousins I have right here in America. It happens so often when our family goes and visits Africa. We see people that look just like our family members in Igbo land, because our family comes from Igbo land. We were told that the best that we could do was to crawl under the colonial grip of those that put us in this situation and allow them to help pull us out. We were told that the best that we could be was Christians. We were told that the best that we could be was to be obedient and to listen to the white man. We know that all of that has never worked for us. We know all of that is completely untrue. We know that our unity is at stake. We know that our faith in the Creator is at stake. But the thing that is most important is that we galvanize, we gather, and we unite. We become a think tank. We have conversations for the general public in public, but we have even more private conversations behind closed doors, because only a fool would speak in the midst of his enemies and say everything that he would like to do. So we know that those more important conversations are going to be held behind closed doors. But publicly, I am in receipt of my brothers right now, and I am enjoying this. And I want to say that when it comes to the culture of the Torah, we speak of the culture of the Torah as expressive of what we call in Hebrew our emunah. Emunah. And what's eerily fun to hear about that is the cognate relationship between Omenana and Emunah. Emunah is the practice of one's faith. Emunah in Hebrew is the practice of the way that one lives out and actually does the will of Hashem, only to find in Igbo land the same concept is used in a similar word, Omenana. So I would like one of our Igbo brothers to explain for our listening audience here in America and even here in Israel. Tell us exactly what Omenana is, and tell us how that connects with the culture and tradition of Torah. Any one of you could respond to that.
Sorry, I didn't get.
So what I wanted to know from you guys, because we have your scholarship here. Many of us we know a little, but you guys are far more advanced in what exactly Omenana is. So I want for you, any of you, to tell us what exactly is Omenana and teach us the relationship between Omenana and the culture and tradition we find in the Torah.
Okay. Um, we call it Omenana. Omenana means tradition. In Ivrit, we call it Minhag. Understand? Like in Igbo custom, a woman or Hanida doesn't meet her husband. That is purely, whether you are Christian or Muslim, as far as you are Igbo, that is Igbo tradition. Again, circumcision, Brit Milah, as far as you are born in Igbo, in ancient Igbos, they circumcise on the 8th day. Whether you are a Christian or Muslims, that is what is the tradition of Igbo, is Omenana Igbo. Understand? Then in the Torah, when they want to share the land of Israel, even when they want to mention names of children of Israel, they start from Reuben, right?
Yes.
In Igbo tradition, the firstborn, as far as you are the first, whether you married many wives, 7 wives, 8 wives, any uncountable wives, whether you marry many wives as you want, as far as any male child, whether it's the your last wife born that child, as far as the first male child in your family, in that family, is your firstborn. And his father, whenever you are sharing his inheritance amongst his brethren, that first issue must have what we call Obi, that is the father's house. Then among other this thing, you will also have an inheritance there too. So understand. So that is the tradition of Igbos. Even up to now, we still observe that tradition. So it's similarly to the Torah. Like my father used to tell me some stories. Even my grandmother, when they were small, when they go to what we call Baji, that's yam. They want to farm, like they went into the bush to look for yam that was not harvested in the bush. Like that is when the farmers harvest their yam, they leave some. They leave some for fatherless and widows. Understand? So that's what they do. So I think it's a similarity with Torah. So that's what I observe. Similar Igbo customs, similarity with the Torah. So that is my own observation.
Yeah, so I just want to jump in really quickly. So the thing is like this. So the person who's watching this, the person who's seeing this exchange, number one, this is a historic exchange between the experience of the transatlantic slave trade. There were certain tribes that were targeted on the west of Africa, and most of these tribes were Israelite tribes. They're descendants of the children of Jacob that went into diaspora into Africa, and unlike the movements that exist, some of the movements that exist that are negative movements from our position that say, oh, well, the African Americans are the only Israelites. It's like, no, we have Jews went into the Middle East, they went into Persia, when they went to Arab countries, they went into the West, they went into places like Spain and Morocco, all these different places they went, and also they went into Africa. So the African Americans that came to America largely in the 80 percentile are descendants of these tribes that were Israelites. In America, the people who were part of the transatlantic slave trade knew this, and they concealed the identity. They removed the identity. They told the people they were just random people that were in slavery. And so now, because we have information technology, we have DNA, we have these tests. Most African Americans, they're going to see majority, a high percentage of DNA is from Nigeria. So we have our actual brothers in Nigeria right now, our brothers right now, and they're going to tell us just for a second. I'm going to throw it back at them. Whoever wants to answer, Emmanuel can answer. He's the president. Whoever else wants to jump in, but we want to talk about the different projects that the Nigerian youth, Igbo youth organization, and this is a key point too, to also say this as well. Us African Americans, we're not involved in any politics, okay? We're not involved in politics. We are focused on Torah. And so we want to connect to our brothers and sisters in the region on a place of Torah. And we are trying to find our history because America largely has had a tremendous amount of racism, a tremendous amount of bigotry, and we did not know who we were or where we even came from in Africa up until very recently because of information technology, thank God. So we're coming back to connect. We're not involved in any prior politics. We're not in prior any movements, anything. We are here only to connect to our original roots. And if anything, strengthen the relationship of positivity between the nation state of Nigeria and the American population. So we're here for peace. We're here for unity. We're here for connection. So with that being said, we want to go a step further, and we want to know on what does the Nigerian youth movement do in terms of things like Shabbat, Yom Tovim, like what do you guys do? Because many of the African Americans, and we're going to talk about this more in a second, many of the African Americans in America, we're like, hey, when we got introduced to spirituality, we got introduced to a European understanding of Christianity. We got introduced to Islam from the aspect of Arabs. And there's nothing wrong with Arabs or Europeans. We're not dissing anybody. But who we are, where we come from, is you guys. So we want to know what you guys are doing on Shabbat. We want to know what you guys are doing during Rosh Chodesh. We want to know what you guys are doing through Pesach and Yom Kippur and all these different things. We want to know what you guys are doing because this is the first time we've ever had a conversation with anybody on Rob Zion Lexx TV platform, HaGadol platform. This is the first time African Americans, I can say openly, maybe there's another time, I don't know, maybe someone can correct me, but this is the only time that I know of that we in America, in our West African brothers who are Israelites, who are defining themselves as Jews today, have had a conversation about what are you guys doing, because it makes more sense for me to understand what you're doing and what direction you're going in than versus the universities and the school system that in the West that was designed for keeping me as a black person at the bottom, at the lower class. So you guys, I want to know what you guys are doing because that is going to be more connected to my soul. It's going to be more connected to my tough kid, my purpose in his lifetime. And I want to give a shout out. And I want to give a shout out to Danny, right? I mean, not to Danny, but good. I mean, of course, Danny, but for Gadi, right? Who worked with you guys in Nigeria and did these things with you guys in Nigeria. I sent him a message recently, but I want to send a shout out to him without even talking to him, because this is the heart of the Jewish people. Okay, not every Jew's perfect, and don't judge Judaism on Judaism. But I've been exposed to some of the most amazing, loving hearts in this country, Eretz Israel. I've been here for 8 years. And I would say, Gadi, I don't know you. we haven't talked yet, but I would say the impact that you had on our brothers and our sisters, you should be commended. You should be honored. Your family should be honored, and you guys should be praised and supported, because this is what the Jewish heart is about. And the Jewish heart is not on television. It's not on. It's not on documentaries, because we hold by Shabbat. Shabbat, there's no cameras, so you don't see the love that we have amongst all Jews. You don't see the connection that we have on the holidays. People see, like, I'm an African American. People will think that I'm different. Here in Israel, I am not. In the religious communities, I am not. And so Agadi, who was here, who was born here, went over to Israel and shared the traditions that we've had passed down since Mount Sinai to our other brothers and sisters. And so this is an example that we need to recognize, we need to support, and we need to acknowledge, because there is a false narrative created by people who want to create a separation between all of us in Israel, that Ashkenazi Jews and Sephardic Jews and Mizrahi Jews and Igbo Jews and North African Jews and Tamani Jews, we're all separate. We are not separate. We have the same soul, and we suffer the same ways in all of our continents. The way that the black men have suffered in America is the same way that Igbos have suffered in Nigeria, is the same way that Jews have suffered in Europe and all around the world. So eventually we got to let go of this curtain that says that we're separate. We're not separate, and God is telling us that we're not separate, and we need to honor the people who create unity. So the point going forward is this. Our brothers are here. This is the first of many conversations. We got to raise money for Pesach. God willing, B'vat Hashem, I'm going to be with all of our brothers in Igbo land, in the different territories, doing Pesach this year. And whoever wants to join us can. But we need support from the American Israelite community financially to make sure that every children of Israel in the west of Africa is able to observe Pesach properly and have the support. So we're just starting right now. We're starting this conversation right now, but we're going to build on this conversation, and we're going to build off of it. So this is the Igbo, Israelite, Jewish, whatever you want to, however way you want to say it, movement in the west of Africa, in Nigeria. And we got love for Nigeria. We got love for everyone there. This is all about peace. It's all about connection coming from America. But we got to organize, and we got to raise money. We got to provide. We need matzot. We need grape juice. We need all the different things that allows a Jew to keep Pesach. We need those resources, and we're starting that conversation now for Pesach. We need to raise a tremendous amount of money. Pesach, Rabbi Pinchas Eliyahu, Chief Rabbi Pinchas Eliyahu, who's my rabbi, is 100% in support of this. We're going to be building onto this, and we need to exchange the wealth of America with the wisdom of Igbo land and our Israelite brothers. That's the connection. That's Yosef and Yehuda. We need to bring those things together, the wisdom of the Igbo people and the traditions and the connections. We're going to talk about that in a second. And we need to connect that to the wealth and the gashmias and the physicality of America. And we need to bring those things together for the sake of holiness, for the sake of America, for the sake of Nigeria. As the Nigerian Igbos get more connection to the African Americans, it strengthens the relationship. More prosperity, more trade, more connection, more security exchanges. So this is what we're talking about. And so the Igbo brothers, we're going to move on the conversation. But you guys, we're coming back. We're going to create another situation. We're going to go more into detail, but we got to create a fundraising situation for us for Pesach. So as many of the children of Israel that are in the west of Africa are going to have access to be able to have matzot and to have grape juice and to have a proper Sudah to be able to observe the mitzvah of Pesach. And so we're going to talk more about that. But for now, we're going to end this conversation, and we're going to have another group come on, and we're going to keep building. Is anybody, any last words from the brothers, from the youth movement? Any last words?
Okay, it's a very wonderful initiative, as I said earlier, Rabbi, because it's a wonderful way to know a community, as you mentioned about Gadi, one of the ways to get to know us well is during the Hag. Yes, because that's we come together, we share things as a community. Most people in different communities camp, like stay together throughout the period of Pesach and other Hagim. So normally, each community or place of worship vary in the way they observe. For instance, myself, I'm in Abuja with my own community. Here, we prepare for Pesach. Before Pesach, we get our mazot and our wine and everything. Pesach Seder, we all meet together. Like it's a must. We must sit together on Pesach Seder, the whole community, not like individually in your different houses. You get so that way we bond together, and that is also true for some other communities here in Nigeria. So one thing I've learned about it is that it fosters this strong bond between us when we hold all our festivals together. And here we are increasingly becoming more observant. That's one thing I've observed over the years of being in the Imona. The observance it has changed people's life in different ways. So we are very happy for the initiative coming. So I can see the link for the donations. We can get the link and share to people around. It's what we are looking for.
So wait. So on that point, I just want to make a point. So I know Abraham. You know Abraham is the blog. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So what we want to do is we want to take this episode and we want to do a blog around it and the connection between African American youth and Igbo youth.
Okay.
You guys and that, right? And we want to do a blog, and then that blog, myself, Rob Zion, and our communities will share that, right? We'll share that immediately. But when we get closer to Pesach around Purim, we'll start doing another campaign for raising more money specifically for that. So now is awareness. And then the second part is the actual donations, and we'll figure out a way to get the money directly through links or whatever. Is that okay?
Yeah, great.
Great. Exactly. Okay, so we'll see you guys. We're going to create another meeting for all of us to connect together, but Abraham should put that together and just keep going. And shout outs to Aura, who is here in Israel, who's a person who I've met with many a times. And she's a tremendous person, brilliant scholar, and she created a tremendous impression on me with the Igbo community, so she should be recognized. And Kish and Rabbi and Akuma and all the people that are there. So, and of course, Rabbi Pinchas Eliyahu for enlightening me as an African American of our connection to the Torah, to our connection to that. So we're there, and so now we're going to continue the conversation with representatives from the Omenana organization, Omenana movement, and Rob Zion. You could take over because some of the people here are some of your ex-students. You guys could stay on and join on, or you guys could sign off. It's up to you.
Okay, so I had a question. Is this the live session? Is it recording or a one-time?
Yes, it's recording. You'll be able to watch the recording again, and we'll send you the link as soon as we're over, so you can go back and watch the live recording. So we're recording now.
Okay,
People can watch us now.
I mean, is it a one-time event, or is it something you schedule monthly, weekly?
So Chief Rabbi is going to share more information on that, but I think that this is definitely something that we should connect on bi-weekly. I think by at least every 2 weeks, we should all be trying to meet up behind closed doors, behind the scenes, and then maybe we can push to have more public conversations. But I think those behind the scenes conversations should at least be bi-weekly. But Chief Rabbi, you want to say more about that?
Yeah, so I think we could talk about it more, but I think we'll probably do a Rosh Chodesh online. We all talk about the new moon, and we bring in the new moon together as communities in America, communities in Israel, and communities in Nigeria. And we have representatives from the Israelite community here in Israel, and then also in North America. We'll all do it together, and we'll do like a fellowship new moon based off of the Hebrew calendar every month. I think that's the way to start. How you feel about that, you guys?
Yeah, it's great.
All right. All right.
Danny, Penny, Emmanuel, what do you think?
Okay, so we'll just keep building on that. You guys stay on if you want. If you want to leave, you can leave. Whatever. We're going to keep doing this. So we have another one. We're going to talk
Yeah,
about
it's
probably
good. It's
Rosh Chodesh Kislev. So we'll talk about that, doing another meeting on the minds, and we'll have a specific topic to address. We'll do that, and we'll just keep doing that every month until we get to the month of Pesach, and support for this whole project that we're doing out in Nigeria to bring the African American Israelite community and the Igbo and other Israelite tribes in the West of Africa all together, and so we can start discussing and communicating and carving out the future of our future generations.
All right. All right. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. We're going to stay on with Dr. Francis Duru as well as Shimona, and we're going to introduce them in a couple of moments. To our brother Emmanuel, thank you very much for being here. You can continue to follow in the live stream. The link is up. You can go to Lexx TV on YouTube, as well as our brother. I don't want to make sure I'm not pronouncing your name, Eluzai. You as well can continue to watch on YouTube. So I say shalom alechem to both of you. And now we're going to continue with our sister Shimona and Dr. Francis. So shalom, our brothers. And here I am about to introduce our sister and our brothers. So first and foremost, I want to introduce Dr. Francis because he came on first, and then Shimona, we're going to hear from you in a couple of moments. So, shalom, Dr. Francis Duru. How are you?
Shalom, brothers. Shalom, Shimon. Shalom, Rav Mordechai. Lexx Zion. I appreciate all of you. I thank you for what you're doing. Playing a big part to unite our people in the diaspora, in the US, in the Caribbean, and elsewhere, and your roots in Nigeria. Thank you very much for what you are doing. Francis Duru is my name. I am a medical doctor by training, but I'm also a member of the social cultural group we call Omenana Defenders. We are dedicated towards a return of our people to our traditions, our customs, our culture that is very clearly put down in the Torah that we study. So our aim is to get our people to get back to the ways of Israel and also to unite all our people wherever they are. Thank you very much. Shalom.
Baruch Hashem, thank you very much, and shalom to you. And last and certainly not least, great shalom and warm welcomes to our sisters Shimona, Sabrina, Samedi. Shalom, Akoti.
Shalom, Rav Zion.
Long time, huh?
Long time, but it's good to be on this platform talking about what we're talking about today. Baruch Hashem, praise Chikwu. I give all thanks to El Elyon, the Most High God, for making this moment happen. I'm going to let Rabbi Francis Duru take the lead, and then I will give my perspective on, as someone of Caribbean and African American descent coming into Omenana and how that has impacted my life and how that will impact the life of our people. We are a beautiful egalitarian group. I'm going to read from our website to really let you know who we are.
Go ahead.
Omenana Defenders is a coalition of Igbo elders, scholars, theologians, and activists dedicated to preserving and teaching authentic Igbo culture in all its aspects: language, spirituality, and history. So we call our elders Rabbi. That's the title that our elders have. I also want to take this moment to give the honor that's due to Rabbi Remy Ilona. He is our chief. He is our heart and soul. Though he is very humble, He sent us here to represent the work that has been done. And I'm handing it over to Rabbi Francis.
Hallelujah.
Yes, I'm thinking whether we have a specific outline in terms of questions that we can follow and then we can respond to it. But as a person, the first thing that struck me when I began to study Torah is I said to myself, wait a minute, what is going on here? It's like I'm reading about myself. Straight away, you see, you see the traditions, you see the customs, you see the culture of our people being very nicely put down. You say, oh, this is about us. You cannot miss that feeling. And it's a wonderful feeling. And the deeper you go, the more you see the synchrony between Omenana, our customs, our traditions, and what you see in Torah. As a matter of fact, if you interpret Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 1, if you interpret it into Igbo language, you try to find just one word to capture it, you will end up with the word Omenana or Omenala, depending on your Igbo accent. So that is exactly what God gave the Israel people at Mount Sinai. That is Omenala. So I will be ready to address some of your questions.
Yes, yes. So I want to make a statement before I make a question, right? So my statement to you is, can you imagine, Dr. Francis, that here in America, due to European colonialist views and the fact that they control the school systems, there's a conversation that happens among African Americans that challenge our claim to Israelite identity and ancestry. There are some African Americans that say, show me where there are people in West Africa in ancient days that were practicing the Torah. That cannot be found. There are people here in America, Dr. Francis, that says, show me where the culture of Torah is being practiced by any indigenous African in Nigeria or Ghana or anywhere in West Africa. So now that we have someone here, Dr. Francis, I want you to use the moment, the opportunity, and the time to respectfully, because we don't mean to be demeaning towards our brothers and sisters. The aim is always to educate and uplift and never to demean. But I want you to use the opportunity to educate our lesser informed brothers and sisters to the fact that for hundreds, if not thousands of years, there have been people, at least in Igbo land, that have been practicing the culture and the tradition that we find in the Torah, known among Igbo as Omenana. Could you please teach us about that?
Thank you very much, Rabbi. Now, if somebody says, show me a place in West Africa where they practice the culture of Israel, somebody can only say that if he has never been exposed to the culture of the Igbo, what we call Omenana. Like you said, we have to talk respectfully so that we do not raise unnecessary controversies. If you study Omenana and you compare the Omenana that we practice with what is in the Torah, you will find it very difficult to find any other subpopulation of Israelites who practice it to the extent that the Igbos have practiced it. And it is not, and still practice it. And it is not difficult to explain. Our Jewish brothers had very terrible exile experience in Europe and elsewhere. They were ejected from communities, they were killed in droves, they were persecuted, they were not allowed to do certain things. But the Igbo branch of the Israelite tree, very lucky, was tucked away in West Africa, rainforest part of West Africa, where nobody disturbed them for centuries. So they practiced the culture of their ancestors for centuries and even millennia without any outside influence until they began to do what their ancestors did in times past in Israel, they began to fall short of the culture, and then the punishment that goes with derailing uh, um, from your Israelite practices came in. The slave trade came. After the slave trade, colonialism followed very shortly, and then we suffered the genocide in the 1960s. The truth is that the Israelite culture among the Igbo is alive and well, very extensive. Up to tomorrow, even among the Christians, they still hold on to the practices. Now, can give you a few examples. Circumcision on the eighth day is a given. You will never see an Igbo male child that is more than 8 days old that is not circumcised. And even before that child is circumcised, the parents will not let you see the genitals. An uncircumcised person cannot sit amongst Igbos. He will not be accepted. And as a matter of fact, a certain German, a certain German historian noted, I think Andreas Oldendorf, that's his name, that Igbo slaves in the Caribbean refused to mix with African slaves that were not circumcised during the slave trade. They refused to mix with them. That is how serious it is. Among the Igbo, it is forbidden to eat blood of animals. The Igbos must slaughter the animals properly and bleed it out. And to do this, they must have a very sharp knife. And in my own community where I come from, there was a place with a slab of stone where people go to sharpen the knife they use to carry out ritual slaughter of animals. So eating of blood is forbidden. Among us, when we harvest our crops, one brother talked about it. You usually must leave some for the poor, for the strangers within our communities. In fact, my grandfather was so much known for this that people usually will hang around to know when he harvested his crops because they were sure to meet a lot of things on his farmland. He will make sure he leaves some. These are things that are recorded in Leviticus and Deuteronomy in the Bible. Recently, our concept of what we call Igbo Dibo, the Igbo and Igbo there's a word for it when you train somebody to do a business and then you set him up. The Igbo Dibo, the culture also that is recorded in the Bible in Deuteronomy chapter 15, where a master takes on a very poor member of the community, trains him to do a certain business for 6 years, and the 7th year he sets him up. Some business schools in the US are paying attention to this, and they call it the largest business incubation platform because it is something that has continued to generate a long stream of yes, Igbo apprenticeship. Bless you. So that's the word, Igbo apprenticeship. Of course, we have the laws of purity, whereby our men avoided their wives during the monthly cycle and also after delivery. These are things that our ancestors practiced. And among the Igbo too, a man who will be married to one or two or more wives. They live in the same compound, but they maintain different living quarters. The man has his own living quarter, his wives have theirs separately. Suicide is an abominable act among the Igbo. In fact, if anybody commits suicide, to take the invitation of people from a certain Levitic community we have, the Inri people, they have to come. They will take charge of cleansing the land because it is seen as an abomination that defiles the land. This is recorded also in Deuteronomy. When the white people came here, they noted that certain things were not observed among the Igbo. There were no beggars, there were no prostitutes, there were no homeless people. Now, there were no beggars didn't mean that everybody was rich. It simply meant that the well-to-do took care of the poorer and weak members of society. So we didn't find beggars. As wealthy as the United States is, I found beggars in the US, I found beggars in the UK, but when the white man came to Igbo land, there were no beggars because the very poor, they took care of their very poor. Okay. These things are also recorded in Deuteronomy chapter 15, verse 7 to 8. Now, there was a time some visitors from Israel came and they wanted to see an Igbo elder slaughter a fowl. They wanted to watch the process. And when the fellow did the ritual slaughter of a fowl, he followed exactly the prescription in the Torah. And the Israelis were amazed because this old man, he was in his 80s, an illiterate guy. He never read any Torah. He was simply practicing what his ancestors passed down to him. Okay. If we talk about marriage, we have very strong marriage customs. We practice even levirate marriage. Our people practice levirate marriage. Our food culture, all the forbidden things that you have in Leviticus, people avoided it. I remember during the genocide, I was a little boy. We went to the stream to fetch water, and inside that water there was catfish, and I was pointing it out to the adults. That I said, why are we not catching the catfish? Why are we not eating? And they said, no, we don't even touch those ones. We don't eat them. And that it was significant that this was going on even when hunger was intense, and people still struggled to obey their dietary laws. So we had forbidden food items. We don't eat pig, we don't eat pork, we don't eat dog meat, we don't eat fish that don't have both scale and fins, and so on and so forth. There's another interesting thing. In our communities, you could go to your neighbor's vineyard and pluck his fruits and eat without permission from him. But you must obey a rule. The rule is that you only take the one you are going to consume. You are not going to collect it in a vessel. You are not going to collect it in a basket, and you are not going to sell it. But if it is for your personal consumption, you are free to take it and eat it. You will not be breaching. You will not be breaching any laws. And these things you find it in Torah, in Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 25. So we have a whole gamut. What I've given you is just a snippet. If you look at our burial customs, when you dig the grave, you do not hand over the digging implement directly. You must drop it on the floor. We find out that this is exactly what the Ashkenazi do when they dig the grave. When somebody says to you that a certain person is the son of God, you remind him that, oh, God says that Israel is his first son. And if you want to know what the first son, if you want to know how God, Hashem, is related to Israel, find out from the Igbo the relationship between the first son and his father. If you understand that from Omenana, you will have an idea of what God means. I mean, what Israel means to God. Rabbi Mordechai talked about the new moon. Yes, we observe the new moon. In fact, there's one of the books by Chinua Achebe, the very first chapter of that book. It's a novel, but based on Igbo traditions. The first chapter was on the new moon when the chief priest in the community announced the new moon and the feast that was to follow. My mother is in her 80s. I asked my mother, how did you observe the new moon when you were young? And she told me the story. She told me the way to observe the new moon, the prayers they said during the new moon. So this is it in a nutshell.
Thank you.
Omenana is, yeah. So I want to stop here. So
I have one more question for you, Dr. Francis, because with all of those beautiful items that you share with us, there may still be people who are skeptical, right? There are people in America that say, okay, there are some tribes in West Africa that have quote unquote Jewish practices, but they say that's because colonialist European Jews came into Africa around the 13th to 15th centuries and they introduced Judaism in that area. So I want you to enlighten us and tell us just how long this has been the culture of the people in Igbo land, because there are some African Americans that actually believe that the Igbo practice the way that they do because Europeans came in the land during the 13th and to the 15th centuries and introduced Judaism there. Can you tell us why that thinking is wrong?
Yes, it's a very wrong thinking, because if you are talking about Omenana, You are never going to hear from anybody that Omenana started in Igbo land at a particular date. The fact is that our earliest ancestors that came here brought it with them. And this is not a tradition or a custom that you would, in our history, for example, you will not read anywhere that the Igbos conquered anybody and forced their ways down the throat of those people. And when they say Europeans brought Omenana to us, we are not the only people in Nigeria, and we are not even a coastal people. So why are the coastal people who the Europeans met even before they came further inland into Igbo land? Why did they not introduce Omenana or Judaism to them? Why did they have to come inland and introduce it to just us? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And Omenana is not something you can say it was started by this man. Several other religions, you can say, oh, this fellow started this or this fellow, but Omenana, you can't say that. It is something that is in the heart of the people, in the mind of the people, in the soul of the people. They just do it because that is what they got from their ancestors. It didn't start at any given date. So those who make such assertions, they are wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. And with that, we're going to hear from Sister Shimona. Now, Sister Shimona, we have an interesting history. I first meet you because you attended my museum tour, a couple of years back. And, since then, I've grown to learn a little bit more about you. And since then, you've grown to learn a little bit more about Omenana. So I want you to first and foremost just kind of familiarize the community with how we meet, how you and I meet, and also familiarize the community with how you come into the practice of Omenana and to later become an Omenana defender.
Okay. Again, I just want to praise the Most High for this moment and just give honor to all our Nzes who are present. Zarabi, Eronini, Zarabi, Osuji. I'm so glad you made it. We met. I went to one of your museum tours, and first I was watching. I had been watching your shows. I think it was the one on Micah in particular. I was in a middle ground because I have a BA in religious studies. I was at a Christian school, but by the time I finished, I was not a Christian. Just leave it at that. I knew. So and I have been just it's been more of an intellectual journey for me, knowing who we are, studying, reading, learning. Okay, that message on Messiah and Micah, and you had highlighted the idea that Messiah comes from time to time. And it, for me, what I know through my education about JC, I was like, I already knew this wasn't it. And it shifted my paradigm, and it said, okay, it's not about a person, it's about a calling. That's and right. Many of us are called. I was just speaking with Rav Mordechai, and I told him, it's not about, because people have issues with the title Chief Rabbi of African Americans. It's not the title, it's the calling. Come on. And obviously the calling is on his life. And we're at this moment. Again, we were at the museum tour at, it's escaping me because I have so many things on my mind. What's the name?
At the Met Museum. Yes, the Met Museum.
At the Met. And from there, I signed up for your classes because I knew no Hebrew. I didn't know my Aleph Bet, nothing.
That's right.
So I did it, and I was one of your worst students in Hebrew. Keep it real. But I learned the Aleph Bet since then. And my Isha sat me down and made me read line by line. So now at least I can read.
Excellent.
But what else? You attended, there's another intersection there because I had been on Rav Binyamin's radio show promoting a fundraiser that I was doing for my nonprofit, probably in 2022, when Haiti had experienced another earthquake. And so I saw Zit. I said, where do you go? Where's your temple? He mentioned it. He said, oh, it's in Red Hook, DCB. I was like, okay. And I didn't think about it, And so in that intermediate time, I'd watched your shows, met you, and then I said, oh, I saw you speaking there.
Yes.
I connected all the dots. Go there. I still attend a Shabbat partially there after we get off Omenana Defenders in the morning.
Baruch Hashem. So, also use the opportunity now to tell us fully, cause us to understand how it is that you come to, first and foremost, be aware of Omenana, what it represents, and the proponents of it, Remy Ilona, and then how do you become immersed into that way of thinking and practicing, and what impact does it begin to have on you from then till now?
Okay, around that time that I attended the Met tour, I met my Ish, and my Ish introduced me to Remy Ilona. When I spoke to Remy, was not my Ish at that time. When I read his books, I read Igbos in Israel first. Not only did I encounter Torah, I encountered Haitian culture.
Come on.
And that's what drew me in. So again, back to that conversation about who we are, etc. We don't have anything to prove to anybody. And I could lay out some of those details even later. But I'm reading this and I see my grandma, I see my people, I see our way of thinking and doing things. But I also am able to see where it was corrupted in the transatlantic slave trade and influences from the other tribes that were also brought to Haiti. We meet every Shabbat. Here's the thing. You don't understand Torah until you see it through the lens of Omenana. Point blank. Little things like some things Rabbi Remy says a lot. When it says that I forget the name, Abraham's brother, when it says that he died in the face of his father.
Yeah, Haran.
Haran died in the face of his father, right? Why did that happen? Why is that even there? Why is that significant? Zarabi Francis, you can tell us it has something to do with inheritance.
Yes, right? Yeah. Sister Shimon, see what you said now. I was going to talk about it earlier on. There are certain sentences or phrases in the Tanakh that if you are not Igbo, you might not grasp the significance. And this is just one of it. When it says that Haran died in the face of his father, it meant that by dying while his father was still alive, he loses the inheritance of the first son. It will not go to his own sons. And that is Omenana. If you die while your father is alive, then you lose your inheritance as the first son. Your own children will not take your inheritance as the first son. That is one of those things that an Igbo person reading it will immediately grasp the significance of that. The second one is when Ruth was telling Boaz, cover me with your garment. There's an old Igbo phrase for marriage, imade ogodo, that is to cover with a garment. So if you translate that sentence to Igbo, you'll understand straight away that Ruth was asking Boaz to marry her. But the Torah simply, the Tanakh simply says, cover me with your garment. To cover with your garment, there's an Igbo phrase, imade ogodo. That's the old Igbo term for marriage, imade ogodo. Cover with your garment. So these are examples. There are others. Thank you. Shalom.
Thank you, and shalom.
Shalom. I wanted to piggyback on that. Even this past Shabbat, when we read the prayer that was said over Rachel, that one of our sisters pointed out how it, Sister Chioma Finest, she pointed out how emotional it got her, because that is not like the prayer. That is the prayer. that is set over Igbo women in marriage. What I say when I say you don't understand Torah until you see it through the lens of Omenana, I can't emphasize that enough. There are so many small intricacies there. For example, I think it was in our last half Torah portion, maybe 2 weeks ago. Elisha gave was it Gehazi?
Yes.
His staff. And he said, gird up your garment. He told him to tie it up. He said, don't speak to anybody and don't answer anybody if they stop you. Why is that significant? Because he was holding an ophel. That is Aaron's staff. That is a priestly staff, and it confers not only the authority of the owner, but that power, that essence that came with it. So if it touched the ground, it was going to be a problem. If he said something evil or said a lie or anything was said amiss while he was holding it, it was going to be a problem. He had to hold that ophel and make it to that boy and lay that to confer that power to resurrect the child. These things you won't understand until you get an Omenana. We meet every Shabbat. We meet, we're able to we read our Torah portion and we're able to ask these amazing elders and everything. What does this mean? We get our questions answered. I'm so excited. Forgive me. This has changed my worldview as a Haitian American. Let me draw another line of connection here to Haiti.
Hold on one moment. I just want to say something. So right after you, we're going to hear from Napoleon, who's been on a while. Right. And then we're going to hear from our brother that joined on last. So continue what you're doing. But after you, we're going to switch to Napoleon. And then after Napoleon finishes, then we're going to hear from our brother that joined on last. So continue, please, Sister Shimon.
Amen. My last little thought here. So the Ofo is in Haiti. Now it's called it's also called Ofo, but it's also called the peristyle. The peristyle is a central pole or pillar that's in the middle of the place where voodoo ceremonies are held. It's that same idea of the, whoever is holding the ofo, that is the place of spiritual power and resonance. Now, that's still present in Haiti, but we see all the problems around it where we have like the synchronicity of other cultures, practices within it. And that's part of what I am, besides this is part of what I'm studying and researching and want to bring to the Haitian people, because Haitian people know, with this last thought, to this day, say, nous c'est Igbo. If a Haitian says, moi c'est Igbo, they're telling you they know their culture. And I'll leave it there. And they know who they are.
Woo! Thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. Napoleon, please do introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and do share some thoughts with us.
For what you have said, and great thanks to the Francis too. You've said a lot. Well, I am Napoleon Eronini. I am an Igbo man. I am from Awo Mbiri, Mbaitolu local government area of Imo State. I live in London anyway. That's where I'm speaking from. And I've been in London for about 35 years now. I grew up in the village. I did not grow up in any township or any city. I was born and brought up in my village. I came into England in 1989, and I've lived here since then. When I entered England, I noticed that everything European is opposite of our culture. Everything European, the attitude, the behavior, the culture, everything is opposite of Igbo culture. I have been a Christian, like I was born in a Christian family, because in my father's house, in my father's compound, we have an Anglican church there. So I grew up being a Christian, and I rose in Cherubim and Seraphim, who later left Anglican church and went to Cherubim and Seraphim due to my father's illness. And for more than 50 years, I should say, I was a member of Cherubim and Seraphim and rose to the rank of apostle. I never read the Bible deeply, the way, or Torah, the way I read it after meeting Omenana Defenders. Since I met Omenana Defenders, I started now studying the Bible and started finding out that every word in the Bible, that Old Testament, is Igbo culture. Every word in that Old Testament is Igbo culture. I am not asking you not to find out. Go, anything you see in Torah, go to Igbo land. If you don't find it there, then call me a bastard. Forget the fact that 90%, 99% of our people now are Christians, like you had Francis say. 99% of them still practice Omenala. And me and you know that God said through that law He gave us at Mount Sinai. God knew that God created the world. He created Adam and Eve, and you know the history of Adam, how because of how God chased Adam and Eve out of the vineyard, how Noah, the water that flooded the world, and how God single-handedly picked us out of Egypt because of atrocities, and gave us that law at Mount Sinai and told us, these are what you have to do when you get to that land where I am sending you into. And that word, like as Zé Francis mentioned, is, if you translate it in our word, Omenala, that which you would do when you get there. And we have practiced it until the white pirates came. We have done that up to tomorrow. Those people that call them Christians, when they want to marry, they follow the Omenala tradition. In the morning, as I was growing up, every morning, my father was a Christian. Every morning, my father wakes up and do ablution. Wash his hand, wash his face, wash his mouth, and before he blesses the kola for the day, and then share the kola, then from there the day starts. So if anyone that wants to know about Omenala or the Igbo culture or the Torah, if you want to know more about the Torah, go to Igbo land and see how Omenala is practiced, not in the cities, but in the villages, because they still do it up to tomorrow. Cleaning of roads, like last week, my community, my village, had to jointly clean the roads in my area, clear the bushes or make it look all right. In those days, women, every Saturday, or every Sabbath, or the market day, because what we usually do is, like when Moses said to your tents, O Israel, Isiekene, where the Francis comes from, their market day is different from mine. And the Osuji's market day is as well different from my own community market day. Because if community has a particular day that their market day is, the same way we have Sabbath, which is a unifying day for all of us. We'll have every community have their own. So everything you find in Torah is Igbo, 100% Igbo culture. Mr. Francis has explained to you more than I think I will say here, but as we go along, if there are questions we need to explain, I don't mind answering them.
Okay,
and
okay.
I will yield the floor for maybe another person. Suji is here to air his views and observations as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And to our last brother that joined, I don't want to mispronounce your name. So I want you to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then tell us a little bit more about the Omenana Defenders.
All right. Thank you, Brother Zion Lex. It's a good thing to be part of this session today. Yes, I am Ikechukwu Uchenna Usuji. That's my name. A member of Omenala Defenders. Omenala Defenders, why Omenala Defenders? Yeah, we chose to defend the culture, our culture, because like everybody has spoken, the British came to our land and forcefully and subtly Christianized everyone, a good number of people in the land. Like the previous speakers have said, a good number of our people, majority of our people are all Christians. We all grew up in the Christian society, you know. But as we continue to learn in the churches, we find out that there are restrictions of what we are supposed to learn. Because I grew up as a Catholic, and as a Catholic, there are specific things that you must read. The readings are specifically selected. It is not like the other where we read every portion, one chapter to the next chapter. They are, cherry picked here and there. So by so doing, a good number of things elude us. But when we begin to study, like to study the Bible completely and comprehensively, we began to find out so many things that are in the Bible that the churches don't accept. Like in the Catholic Church, we found out that as a Catholic priest, you're not meant to marry. But in Omenala, our priests do marry. This is not in consonance with what the scripture is saying. The priests in the Catholic Church don't marry. But we know that Aaron was married, Abraham was married, Noah was married, and the children of Aaron were married. Okay? Now, those are some of those things. So we'll find out so many other things, and so many of our cultures that are being trampled or trampled upon. We'll find out that even in the scripture, Abraham, polygamy was an accepted form of marriage. But in the church, it is monogamy, absolutely. And in fact, if you even come to think of polygamy, you're ostracized absolutely, completely from the church. So when we began to see these and many other things that we do, we even see our culture of libation. Our libation culture is also established as one of the primary sacrificial cultures that was instituted for the house of Aaron to be performed by the priests. But the church said it is an abomination, it is fetish, it is idol worship. We saw our animal sacrifices, and the church said no. Some JC has been sacrificed, and that no. So when we see these things, we began to find out that something is wrong somewhere. And those of us who began to discuss our Omenala in tandem with the scriptures, we now decided that it is pertinent to stand with Omenala, to defend Omenala, because Omenala is the Israelite culture. And I grew up, while growing up, my father, though a Catholic, will always say that we are Israelites, we are from Israel. So, and when I came of age, I began to ask myself questions. If we are Israelites, Israel have a culture, but the culture that we are running in the church is contrary to what we have read as Israel's culture. So where did we go wrong? I now came to understand that yes, that the church is of a different origin, and what they are pushing for us are exclusively their cultures, which is not Israelite culture. But we are told that we are Israelites. So, an Israelite culture is Omenana. And when we also found it clearly stated, the things that are to be done in the land. When Moshe said, these are the things, these are the rules, these are the dictates, these are the precepts that you are to observe in the land. And what we are observing in the land, in Omenana, we say, what you observe in the land, what you do, what you practice, what you say, are all what you do, meaning Omenala, what you do in the land. So it is not strange because definitely the Brits came to confuse us. They definitely cannot give us, they never created an opening for us to even see what we are saying. It is out of our own study, while we study wider, that we came to realize that these things are there. In fact, I even went as far as making some inquiries to look at previous directories of the readings in the church. And I could not find any day that the book of Leviticus was cited in the Catholic Church for once. The book of Leviticus is never mentioned in any yearly cycle in the Catholic Church. So how can the church, how can the Catholic Church teach us Omenala? They cannot give us what will undermine them. So Omenala is Igbo language, and they never taught us Igbo language. So when we now found out all these things and many more, we said no, we need to come back, establish a system that will forward and project Omenala to our people so that we will come back to the original culture, original covenant. Because going forward too, we found out that our society keeps declining a day in, day out, despite our acceptance of Christianity. We are not getting better. We are not getting better, and when we now when we come to read the book of Devarim, Deuteronomy, and we saw the curses and the promises, the blessings. We now came to clear understanding where our problems were, or where our problems are coming from. That our problems are coming from the fact that we've deviated from the covenant. So we have to go back to the covenant, and that is how we instituted Omenala Defenders as a pressure group, as a group to teach our people, to reorientate our people, to going back to the original covenant given by Chukwu, given by the Most High, for the betterment for our good. Because like I said, since our encounter with Christianity, it has never been better for us. Shalom.
Shalom. Thank you so much for that, good brother. Thank you so much. Dr. Francis, I have to ask you this burning question. So you put in our private chat a statement. You said Britain carried out a cultural genocide on the Igbo. There are even indications that the British knew that Igbo were among the so-called lost tribe. Therefore, the central genocide was deliberate. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that, Dr. Francis? We would love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yes, I said that because among all the tribes in Nigeria, the Igbo put up the stiffest resistance against the colonial invaders. And I'll give you some bit of figures. Now, for the predominant tribes in the northern part of the country, they succumbed to the British invaders in less than a year. In the southwest, the same thing in less than a year, but the Igbo fought the British for about 33 years. You can see the difference, okay? 33 years of continuous fighting. And because we didn't have central authorities, we lived as small, independent Igbo republics, each of them living independently from their next Igbo neighbors. There was no central authority, so they had to take Igbo land village by village. It was intensive fight for 33 years. At the end of that, when they finally pacified Igbo land, they brought in a lot of anthropologists, a lot of missionaries, a lot of evangelists. The anthropologists were charged with studying the people. Why are they so stubborn? Why are they so headstrong? Why are they so stiff-necked people? The anthropologists told the British that these people draw their strength from their culture. And then the British knew that they had to do something to dismantle the culture of the Igbo people. That is why they achieved highest conversion of people to Christianity among the Igbo. We had almost 100% conversion. They didn't achieve that in any other part of the country. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yes.
the attempt was to totally dismantle the Igbo culture, get rid of their priests, get rid of their leadership, and then they appointed the so-called warrant chiefs, who were majorly very what do you call it? People that are not to be trusted, horrible characters who are made warrant chiefs, people who were spies against their communities, people from backgrounds that were not really the honorable backgrounds. They were made warrant chiefs. So it was deliberate. They dismantled our traditional institutions. There's also and there's our priests, the chief priests, the community priests. They dismantled all this system in the process of converting us to the new reality they brought for us. So it was a cultural genocide. They did not do that much in any other tribe in Nigeria. They focused that attention very intensely. And when they set up mission schools, you could not enlist your children into the missionary schools if you didn't first convert to their religion. And then they will change your name, give you a Christian name, and then your children can come to the missionary school. And then becoming a Christian and coming to missionary school was a sure path to get into the civil service. So that is it. Thank you.
That's key. That's key. It sounds like what you're saying then, that there seems to be a deliberate aim at causing Igbo to forget who they are, and even causing strife in Igbo land to deter Igbo from returning to their ancestral culture. Because you said also, we have evidence that some of the Jews escaping the Spanish Inquisition in Spain and Portugal in the 15th century, they came to Igbo land to take refuge there because they knowingly already knew that their brethren had lived on the banks of the Niger River, where the Igbo live to this day. So, I certainly would love to have you on another time to go into some of these evidences, because that would be very, very important, not just for us here in America, but for people all over the world to know this truth. We believe, Dr. Francis, that there is a global scheme, as it were. And I hate to sound like a conspiracy theorist, because I'm a real historian. And so I tend to stay away from sounding like a conspiracy theorist, but I just want to acknowledge something that I also know to be true when I say to you that it happens to be a fact that there has been a great agenda by European colonialist empires to stop us from truly learning and discovering our cultural and national identity. And when we see and observe that, the question we have to ask ourselves is, what are the motives behind that? Why are they so fearful in our people knowing who we are. What is it about who we are that makes us such a threat to their power structure? What do they know about our identity that has it such that there is a global resistance to us emerging? So I certainly want to have you back on to go a little bit more into those evidences, but I want to thank you so very much for what you shared thus far.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I was briefly interrupted. There was a call that came in and interrupted my flow with Lee. So we were talking about those who came in from the Inquisition in the 15th century in Spain and Portugal. Now, there is evidence, letters written incidentally by the chief rabbi, as both Ashkenazi and Sephardim chief rabbi in Great Britain. They wrote letters to the British government asking them to request that explorers coming to the lower Niger should look out for our brethren living on the banks of the Niger River. That was the specific request, that these explorers that were coming to explore part of the Niger River should look out for our brethren in the banks of the Niger River. So it pointed to the fact that even as at that time, the Jews in Europe knew that there were Israelites living in this part of West Africa, and they were asking these explorers to look out for them. But you know what? About that particular ship or whatever you call it, there were missionaries. They were not interested in looking for any lost tribe of Israel. They were interested in converting people to Christianity, and that was precisely that. In fact, further engineered their interest in converting the people, instead of saying, "Oh, your cousins in Great Britain said we should look out for you." They didn't do that. Rather, they more forcefully converted the people to Christianity. And then one thing that migration from Spain and Portugal did was that it brought very light-skinned Jews from Europe to come and mix with darker-skinned Igbos. You understand what I'm saying? So the consequence is that among the Igbo, you will see the lightest skinned Nigerians because of this mixture. The Jews that came from Europe to mix with their brethren who were already in West Africa. And then we also remember that the British reported that it was among the Igbo that they saw blue eyes, which was an European thing that they brought. They saw people with blue eyes. And today, in most Igbo families, you will find people that are almost as white as Caucasians in their skin color. Almost as white as you will find them in virtually every Igbo family. Then you see the normal darker brown, various shades of brown, and the very dark ones. So these are the things that you see. That is one physical evidence of that migration from Europe. But that was in the 15th century, and very long before then, people had been practicing Omenana.
Okay.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that. You know, apart from looking at the Omenana Defenders website, I have already been well aware that the largest ethnic group of people taken from West Africa and brought into the Americas and the Caribbean are actually from among the Igbo people, which is to say that we must understand as Afro-Caribbeans and Afro-Americans that a great majority, if not all of us, have Igbo descent, patrilineal and matrilineally, right? So in acknowledging that, you, Sister Shimona, and our brother on the stage as well, and Omenana Defenders in general, you guys become very imperative, very crucial in helping us to connect with those cultural identities that we lost, because you are a living example of the things that we're reading in the Torah. I have to go in the Torah to find out what you already live every day. If I'm getting you right, the culture in Igbo land is a daily practice, something that is done without even a book.
Absolutely.
Right.
Without even a book.
Yes.
Yeah. Without even a book.
I'd love to comment on that. I remember watching I think it was a certain rabbi it's a video out there, and he was sitting with Igbo elders, and the same conversation where he said, well, you're ancient Israelites, do you want to become Jews? That conversation. If you watch the whole video, at one point he said, well, you lost the Torah. And I'm like, they live the Torah. They didn't, and see, that's the European paradigm is, if it's written, it's law.
Come on.
Now, not to, we can idolize, the Torah can be idolized. Anything can become an idol. You understand? We thank Yah for the preservation of our holy scriptures. We thank Yah for our sages who compile the Gemara. But there's one thing to read something, and it's another thing to live it. You understand? So that's one thing. Another thing I wanted to point out, as far as Rabbi Francis's comment, there is an ikpere. There's a cloth, Igbo cloth called ikpere cloth. There's an ikpere cloth in the British Museum right now, discovered in 1880, where you see a Magen David stitched into the cloth, and you see it's escaping me, and it's so sad. It's not a candelabra, our
Yes. The menorah.
Menorah. Thank you.
Yes.
So there's a menorah, a seven prong menorah, and the Magen David, and also the diamond shape that represents the 4-day Igbo work week in the cloth, and that's dated back from 1880. So for sure they knew who the Igbos were. They're coins that were minted by Britain in Igbo land with the Magen David on it. Now, to draw this connection back to the Caribbean, Haiti's original flag were the colors red and black. These colors are important. You see our Nzes right now you either wear a red fez, a black fez, or the red and black, like Rabbi Francis. People confuse the flag with the Duvalier's flag because he brought it, the Haitian dictator Duvalier brought it back. But our Haitian original flag was red and black. Those colors are that important to Haitian people.
Yes.
Haitians know that they're Igbo. There is a song associated with Igbo Lele, which has been turned into one of the Loa in the Voodoo pantheon, remembered as one of our ancestors. The song is called Igbo Gramun. That means Igbos are self-sufficient. Igbos are resilient. We pull on that culture to date. So these are some of the ideas that need to be drawn on for us to remember who we are, to come out of different things that have been mixed into our culture, and really fully take on that power to know that not only that Igbo is Gramun, we are self-sufficient. We're a very capable people. Another thing that I discovered in reading Igbos in Israel, where we talked about Igbo Debo, the apprenticeship system, there's something in Haiti called Rest Avec. Anthropologists and scholars think, well, this is something that's unique to Haiti, and it's devolved into sort of it can devolve into like a slave-like system because it's disconnected from the lifestyle of Omenana as a whole. But it's the same idea exactly as Igbo Debo. A poorer family will send their child to a wealthier family to work for them and live for a certain amount of years. And that wealthier family is supposed to educate and train up that child and set them up for a good life. That has been degraded in Haiti. So there are many, as we discovered, and I'm sure people from Guyana, people from Jamaica, when they encounter Omenala, they will see their culture in it. And that's my message. Pick up this book, go to omenaladefenders.org, begin to engage with these elders in Shabbat. You will see your culture, and you will feel more connected to Torah than ever. I can't express it more than that. My grandmother, my Haitian grandmother, every morning she poured libation of water and coffee, because coffee is something that's significant to Haiti. She also would put out a citron. So there's not only, so I'm saying this to say, and I'm going to clarify my point. It's not only things that are in Torah, there are even things in the Gemara. There are even things in Jewish practices that you see Jews in Europe doing that Haitians do to this day. And that comes from our Igbo heritage. The practice of kaparot, where you see Orthodox Jews waving the chicken around on Yom Kippur, take on the sins of that person, that's present in Haiti. The citron is the same fruit as etrog that is put in the sukkah. And it's used, and it just came to realize this. The same symbolism. It symbolizes purity. And that's something my Haitian grandmother offered along with her libations every morning.
That's incredible.
Haitians that practice the culture, same thing as Zerabi Duru, Zerabi Osuji, Zerabi Oranini said earlier. Those who are not Christianized, when you wake up in the morning, you pour libations, you wash your hands before you even speak to somebody. There's so much there. So that's my message to those of us in the diaspora. We need to really begin to view ourselves as the Igbo diaspora, period. We are the Igbo diaspora. And when you're coming back to Omenala, you're coming back to Torah. And it's a spirituality that feels very familiar. Those of us who are in Judaism, those of us who are in different camps, I'm not telling you to leave that. I'm telling you to encounter Omenala, and you will put your traditions in a proper perspective, and you will understand Torah on another level. Omenala integrates the spirituality and the written law in a way that's very familiar to us, because we are a spiritual people.
Thank you so very much for that. So we're going to start to bring this to a close. We're going to hear some closing words from everyone. I'm going to ask our brother Napoleon to go once again and just give us some closing thoughts. Can you close us out, Napoleon, with some of your words? We're going to hear from everyone to say some last words, but we're going to first hear from Napoleon. Please give us some words to close us out this evening.
Well, there are a few points I picked up which I want to talk about. In the Bible, we are said who happen to see that God called Israelites the people that is called by his name. The people that bear his name. Seated there is Ikechukwu. Ikechukwu means he that is sitting there knows what his name means. It means God's power, God's strength. If you look at my name, I have a French name, which is an imposed name, a slave name. The rest of my name is Ikechukwu Bahazu. The God's power is behind. They say that the empty vessel make the most noise, but the strong man is behind. Why the strong man is behind? Now, C is Chukwu Mejiri. Chukwu Mejiri. God blessed. God's blessing. Like the rest of us, even the Francis Duru put his first English name of the slave name, you will see his original name that has God. Each and every one of us.
Ikechukwu. I'm Ikechukwu too. Ikenna. It's the same thing.
Ikenna is God's father's strength. And the only father who know is God. The only king who know is God. Another thing I want to say about is the issue of success in Igbo land. The reason our grand uncles and aunties were taken, your forefathers were taken out of our land was because of our fearlessness, strength. We are made not to fear anything, not to be scared. Because when you are with God, you don't fear nobody.
Come on.
I have a friend that left Nigeria. He had nothing, only $100. He ended up in cave about 30 years ago, 35 years ago. He succeeded because the only thing the world is not our limit. The world, nothing stops us from succeeding. Now, when the white pirates came, they saw that, like as the Francis Duru mentioned, there were no destitutes, no homelessness, who were given land. There is no Igbo man that was poor. If you have land, unlike other communities, even in England where I live in, the land is not owned by any individual. It's owned by the kings and queens in Europe. In Igbo land, it's even caused a controversy in the Arise News recent, just a few days back. The Igbos share their land. Every Igbo man, every Igbo woman, before Europe or West started saying, oh, women right, and women has right in Igbo land. As you are married, you are given land. You are given opportunity to strive and work hard. That is why everybody works hard. As a man, once you get to a certain age, that is, they call it adolescent age now in Europe or the West, when you are 18. Once you get to that age, you can't, your father and you, because you are of age, you have to start having feelings as a man. You have to be given a portion where you will build your own hut or house. Then given a land where you will work on and fend for yourself. Then along the line, you are ready to get married. And that opportunity is there. So when you read the Torah, you might think, oh, everything you read in it, it's a book, it's like doing practicals, differentiating practicals and theory. When you read Torah, you are reading the theory. But when you come to Igbo land, that is the open practice. It is practiced openly. The Torah that is where you can only know Torah properly, because everything I am telling you here is Igbo practice. And me, as I live in England, I don't eat their food. I eat my own food. Everything we will prepare, except that the ones that we cannot do. Going to restaurants, I don't, because I don't know who cooked the food. It could be a woman that is under menstruation. And these are things in Leviticus we were warned about. It could be a gay.
Yikes.
That just came out of his fellow man and cook food, you eat it, and that destroys your spirit instantly. So if you want to study, if you want to read the Torah, once in a while, I am inviting you to come to Igbo land or go to environments like where people like the Francis, the Remy, Elon, and the Chira that practice all the Suji here, that practice Omenana, stay in, because they live kosher. It's our culture. It's not that we want it. To conclude, there was an issue that came up as we were doing Sabbath meeting some time ago. Somebody mentioned about the Jews, modern day Jews being white. Remember that when the Europeans got in there are some set of Jews that they killed all their men and took over their women and started having, that is why you have dominance of white people among Jews. I saw a video this week about an Asian community between Pakistan and this place, Afghanistan, where people there are pure white. Reason, because during the Alexander that destroyed the Jews, during his era, he went into this area, killed all their men, and the white people were sleeping with their women. So that area, if you go to that area, they don't look like the Asians. They don't look the way Asians do. There are a lot of them. So these are things that kind of screwed our head and the mind of our people. We thought we are the children of Israel, that God himself said, I have chosen you as my firstborn. But they turned around and told you, oh, Jesus Christ is your first son. If you follow Jesus Christ, everything about Jesus Christ is rubbish. And I stand to claim it anywhere, anytime, any day. I yield.
Thank you so very much, Napoleon. Thank you for meeting us here and for being able to join the dialogue. You have an open invitation. Anytime that you would like to come on the platform, please do come right back. Okay? All right. All right. Next, we're going to hear from our brother, Dr. Francis. We're going to save you for last, along with our sister Shimona. But our brother, Ike Chukwu, it's on you, good brother. Leave us with some closing thoughts on how we can bridge the gap between our communities, America and Igbo land, and how we can learn more about Omenana.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good thing we've been talking, and our brother Mr. Rabbi Remy Luna have written many books on Omenala, which are out there. They can be found on Amazon. People can get them and to read them. We also would, for us to bridge this gap, I think we can do some study tours here, some study tours to the land to see what is obtainable in the land. I grew up, like we've all said here, when I was growing up, we had birds, chicken, and we rare, which every Igbo man, Igbo family does have. And if peradventure my parents will see any of those birds acting awkwardly, they say, be quick, slit the throat because it must not die. We don't eat dead animals. We don't eat dead animals. Animals, birds, cattle, must be slit. Their throats must be slit and the blood poured away Secondly, we don't eat blood. Okay, so these are practical things that we do effortlessly. Like our sister Shimon said, we are being taunted with the words, we lost the Torah. What is the Torah the paper? Is the Torah the Sefer? The Torah is not the Sefer. When Moshe was given the Torah, he said, the word, the Torah, the message, the teachings are in your mouth. They are in your heart. They are not necessarily on the pages of the paper. We live them in our daily lives. So we can bridge this if we continue in this discussion, telling our people about it. Okay, like I do not look like an average uh, black man. Uh, if you can see, I'm not dark in complexion. I'm completely bright. I'm completely fair here. And I can pass for, I have some Lebanese and Pakistanis friends here and colleagues. Okay? You will, it will be very difficult to tell the much difference between us. For them, they just came in, but I've been here and I'm looking this way. So I do not, do I look like, I don't look like an average dark man. Okay. So that is how, like Zerabi Francis said, a good number of us are like this, light color, and even in our complexion and our eyes. So we will continue this session. What we are doing is empowering our people. We should not look down on ourselves. We live the Torah. The Torah is in our lives. We live it out even without reading. It is right there in our lives. Every day we live the Torah, even without reading them. And having read them, we just smile. Every day we come to read about them. We give instances. We give practical examples of where these things. More so, not necessarily for us who already know, but for our brothers and sisters who are the Afro-Americans, the African-Americans, the Haitians who have not been here, and those of our other friends. The other time, I was part of those who played host to Rabbi Dimota when he came to Igbo land. So we were together. He saw those things for himself. When we spoke, the way we speak, the way we act, the way we live, you know. In my very community, my small community, there's something that we do on these days that are market days that we aim. All the males in the community will gather and we'll discuss about the future of the community. All the male come in to talk about it. These are some of the instructions that we have said, that when you gather at your gates and you discuss on issues and you promulgate laws, you promulgate based on the basis of the Torah. And these are the things that we do before. Right now, we gather on each of our market days. We originally never had kings. Kings were byproducts of the warrant chief system, like Rabbi Francis Duru stated. We never had kings, but we gather this way to talk about our communities, where everybody, every male have a say. And women too, because in every of our gathering, the entire community will gather. We gather as the male to look oversee the communities. But our women too are also there. We don't ostracize our women. Our women are part and parcel of our decision making, and they've always been parcel of our decision making. Given to the women in America just of late, but the woman in Igbo land has a place stamped in Omenana. The woman in the life of our patriarchs, we are not to be seen and not heard. We saw the consultation the influence Sarah had on the life of our father Abraham. And we also saw the influence of Rebecca in the life of her husband, Ishka. We've seen, and we read about the influence Leah and Rachel has in the life of Yaakov. But it's not like that in all other cultures. These are how we live. We live as a unit. We don't ostracize anybody. We know that we are a unit. So I think in the American society, they learned women's suffrage in Igbo land. In fact, Omenala is the heart of democracy. Is the heart of democracy the world over. Greek never taught the word democracy. True democracy exists in Omenala. And in this democracy, nobody is sidelined. So we invite our people to take up this heritage. It is our heritage. And because it's our heritage, when we come fully in contact with our heritage, we will do great exploits. We are not doing exploit as much because we are being sidelined by the mainstream. But take your heritage and key into it, because that is the heritage Chukwu, the Almighty, gave to Abraham, our father, and gave to us. It is Omenala, and Omenala is what will establish Chukwu's presence and his vision for the world. So when we do that, the sky will be the beginning of our exploit. Shalom.
Thank you so very much, good brother. I say shalom to you. I say thank you for joining us, and we look forward to having you return again. On that note, we're going to hear next from our sister Shimona, and then lastly, we're going to be joined by Dr. Francis Duro. So thank you, Sister Shimona, first and foremost, for joining us last minute. I also want to say that I absolutely have to have you back on, right, to have more one-on-one conversations with you to develop more of the cultural parallel and link between the culture in Haiti and the culture in Igbo land. And we know that much of that culture that you're going to bring out is to be found all through the Caribbean and even in obviously parts of the South here in the Americas. So I definitely look forward for that, but also asking you in this moment to share some closing thoughts. And I'm just going to ask everyone to be a little wary of the time because we should have closed by 2 p.m. and it's now 2:30. So by all means, give your closing thoughts, but try to do it as brief as possible. But thank you.
Shalom. I look forward to that. I want to piggyback on what Brother Ikechukwu said about claiming your culture. What Omenana teaches us is to do just that, that your practices, we're Hebrew people, and your practices can reflect the cultural milieu and where you find yourself. Ashkenazic Jews and others, I remember recently when we celebrated Rosh Hashanah, you have the apple and the honey, and I wanted to know they use the apple and the honey during that time, and I wanted to know where it came from. And so I read in the Gemara where it said that the Germans around us in their New Year, they eat honey and apples, so that felt right to them. What Omenala teaches us is that it is okay and we need to key into our culture by honoring God by doing that and do those things that feel right to us. There's nothing wrong, right? There's nothing wrong with Rav Mordechai was talking about we need matzo and wine in Igbo land. In Igbo land, you have akpu and palm wine. You can celebrate Pesach with that's unleavened cakes and an indigenous wine.
Mm.
And celebrate Pesach with that. Speaking about the South, I spent some months in Tennessee over the summer. One of my brothers in the chat, Amos, we celebrated our Shabbat dinners with cornbread and coffee. That's what felt right to us, and it's okay. You understand? Because that's what we see our brothers in Europe have done, and they feel connected to that. And we need to feel more connected to our practices.
That's right.
And we are a Creole people. We always have been. We have always been a mixed multitude. So our practices and even our our visage, our identity, what we all look like as Jews, should reflect that. And I'll end there. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom. Thank you so very much, Sister Shimona. It's been an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to have you join us again. We will speak behind the scenes about you coming on one-on-one for a much longer and detailed show. So thank you again. Lastly, we have Dr. Francis. Dr. Francis Duru, I thoroughly appreciate your contribution on this live stream, and I certainly look forward to having many more dialogues with you. And can you as well share some closing thoughts with us, words of motivation and inspiration to cause us to come together?
Thank you very much, brother. We have a very great culture, a very sublime culture, divine one from the Most High himself. As we plunge into the study of Omenana and Torah, inevitably we compare with cultures that we find around, and we are yet to see any that is half as sublime as Omenana in meeting man's needs, in bringing peace, harmony to the community, to the entire world. This move to bring together people in Igbo homeland with all our brothers and sisters dispersed in other parts of the world, in the Americas and the Caribbean islands, is a wonderful move, and there is no doubt that we can see and feel the hands of God in it. It is something that is due, and God is right behind it and powering it. So I want to appeal that our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean should not see us as enemy, as people who sold them away into slavery, but it was an event that had to occur. And it should not be the end of the story. We are going to come back together again and become one people. And when we come back together and become one people, the world will know that something has changed. Thank you very much, my brothers. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so very much. So again, this has been a very, very powerful live stream. I want to also thank the Chief Rabbi Mordechai, for bringing this together. This was absolutely beautiful. I can't wait until we all connect again. I want to say thank you all. Until next time, I'm going to say shalom. So shalom and peace, everyone, as we officially thank you all the moderators and everybody that watched live, and have a great day, everyone. Shalom.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Shalom. Bye-bye.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Shalom. One day.
Shalom.
No.
Lex, I'm going to send you the video I promised. Lex, you'll get the video I promised on your WhatsApp. I'll send it.
Yes. Okay. Excellent. Thank you so very much. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Shalom. And shalom, Brother Napoleon. Take care. Okay. All right, everyone. Shalom.
Tearing down idols and we cutting down posts. We calling back Israel to the hell we know. Throwing out crystals, we don't need these stones. And we ain't no God, that's a job for y'all. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High, Yahuwah. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Yah Israel. Tearing calling back Israel to the L we know. We throwing out crystals. We don't need these stones. And we ain't no gods. That's a job for y'all. Everybody help me say all praise. All praise to the most. I can't hear you say. All praise to the most. Oh, all praise to the most. Hey, hey, all praise. All praise to the God of Israel. Mention ain't my comb, mention ain't my sound. Hey, catch me on Yafo eating waffles that I got from Coffee Bean with a tall glass of orange juice while I'm waiting on this scene. Gotta hit the studio, gotta say a bracha krona before I leave. Baruch Ata Hashem, Elokeinu Melech Haolam. Borei Nefashot, Rabo Veshwanan HaKol. Meshber Talachayot, Beckham Nefesh Kol Hai, Baruch Hai Ha'olamim. Shout out to Hashem, I'm living my dreams. City of gold is the land of kings. Family in Ashdod and Modin. Spend Shabbats in Renana, even in Tel Aviv. But ain't nothing like walking down them Yerushalmi streets. From the Kotel to Nachlo, from Rahavia to Baka. From Talpio to Katamon, all the way to Maladao. Meshanei Makom, Meshanei Mazal. Yehirat Som Milfanecha. Meshanei Makom, Meshanei Mazal. Yehirat Som Milfanecha. Ani Po, Ani Po, Ani Po, Ani Po. Ani Yerushalayim, Ani Po, Ani Po, Ani Po, Ani Po. Ani Yerushalayim.
Iraq, the shaman of the holy city made a go. Full of fire of the Holy One, I can feel it in my soul. There ain't another place in this world that can compare with you hardly. And every time I breathe in your air, I just feel a little more godly. What Emes Kedusha Tahara, the Chesed and Rahman Asanas, to standing before you Shekhinah. How can we deserve such an honor? Shalosh Rock, line flying. What you need, yes we have it. Ever been here for Sukkot? Tell you it's a different planet. I thank you Hashem for my Rabbi. I thank you for all the tzaddikim. The Kodesh Kedoshim await you. Return for us we're reaching. I thank you Hashem for my Rabbi. I thank you for all the tzaddikim. The Kodesh Kedoshim await you. Return to us we're reaching.
Meshanei Makom, Meshanei Mazal. Yehirat Som Milfanecha. Meshanei Makom, Meshanei Mazal. Yehirat Som Milfanecha. Ani Po, Ani Po, Ani Po, Ani Po. Ani Yerushalayim, Ani. My mitzvah's gonna live forever. Shout out little mama cause she made me better. Yeah, it's the show. Gotta get active, can't do nothing. Make the most of every moment, gotta do something. Hey. They just wanna play the race card and use that as an excuse for the hate card. Funny thing is most people got the same scars, but they keep us so divided it breaks my heart. They just wanna play the race card and use that as an excuse for the hate card. Funny thing is most people got the same scars, and they keep us so divided it breaks my heart. Blackjack, Bancolay, I'm on face cards. Full speed ahead like a race car. A lot of weaknesses, but I know what my strengths are. So until the day I die, I'ma play my part. Man, I feel like Noah up in Noah's Ark. Bring two of every kind, we'll let the world restart. Flooding rains, but I'm posted in the Teva. Hashem got me covered and it's sweeter than Mufleta. King with a dream like the husband of Coretta. Crawl, walk, run, I be posted with the steppers. Meat the veggies, they're salty, cause I chef with pepper. Bolognese, Bancolay, we stacking that bruschetta. One day I'ma die, but my misfo gon' live forever. World been divided, I'll stitch it back together. When push comes to shove, all we really got is love. Swear this Torah lifestyle fit me like a glove. Born Zachariah, but I wasn't raised religious. I was raised as a non-denominational Christian. Wanted to draw closer to God, but something kept me distant. Knowing race justifies slavery through weaponized religion. Truth be told, Man was flawed from the beginning. Adam was the first man. A few hours later, he was sinning. Cain had a brother named Hevel, but he killed him. We started off with Noah, but Ham caught him slipping. From there was a curse passed on to his seed. But Abraham's mother's is descended from that side of the tree. And Terah, well, he descended from Shem. And we call him Father Abraham, cause we all descended from him. Hey! They just wanna play the race card and use that as an excuse for the hate card. Funny thing is, most people got the same scars, but they keep us so divided it breaks my heart. They just wanna play the race card and use that as an excuse for the hate card. Funny thing is, most people got the same scars, and they keep us so divided it breaks my heart. Abraham Avinu, he had 2 sons. Ishmael was his oldest. Isaac was his youngest one. Ishmael's mother wasn't Abraham's wife. So when Sarah birthed Isaac, Ishmael had to slide. Ishmael is considered the father of Islam, and Isaac is the father of those who went through the pogroms, who folks tried to exterminate but always failed. Also known in the Bible as B'nai Israel. Back to Isaac, he had 2 sons, Jacob and Esau. Esau was the firstborn. His blessing was official, but he sold his birthright to Jacob for a bowl of lentils. Now Jacob went and married Leah and Rachel, and Esau went and married the daughter of Ishmael. Now Esau's descendants is the Roman Empire we know. They've been out crusading in the name of the Pope. Many folks went through slavery, we know that ain't right, but the atrocities that was faced during biblical times is similar to the atrocities of the transatlantic slave trade. The difference being, biblical people at least knew from whence they came. The transatlantic slavery descendants was wiped out of all memories. Thus how can one be freed with no identity? Still the Bible foretold of a people being scattered amongst the nations and then sold as chattel. Israel is missing 10 of its 12 tribes, and the trenches, they don't know their identity right. Perhaps coincidence, what do I know? I had to get this off my chest, but one more thing before I go. Don't hate on one who does, to favor one who doesn't. This Torah lifestyle's full participation. Get it if you want it. Don't hate one who does, to favor one who doesn't. This Torah lifestyle's full participation. Get it if you want it, man. Hey, listen. It ain't about being comfortable, man. At the end of the day, when you show up for your paycheck, you gotta see the boss, man. If the boss tell you he didn't do what he told you to do, you ain't getting paid, man. We don't fancy volunteers around here, man. It's to the chippers with the dippers, man. They just wanna play the race card.
Send you the first, send you the first, we going out, out. Send you the first, send you the first, we going out, out.
Preset, if you scared, then go home. And no, we ain't saying it twice. Cause once you get into this war zone, it's either your life or their life. And we ain't about losing before an intrusion. We gotta make sure we right. So we send praise and seek his face. Then we load up at his on site. What you thought it was, it's not. Don't wanna see us on your block. Yelling hallelujah, trying to tell y'all that victory is your shot. We serve y'all's out by oath, and in this army of hosts, yeah, Yahoo the lead. True indeed, in his name we both go.
Send you the first, send you the first, we going out, out. Send you the first, send you the first, we going out. Torch fire, flags in the street. Sing louder, kick up the beat. All them enemy feet get delete when we cray in the street. Drew to drop them me. Who got the praise for days? Who are the what came face? Made for praise, spit prophecy. We be that anointed royalty. I said we came. Hey. The bar Hamayim number 2, that's on replay. Yeah, we gon' bust them walls, mash up and be on our way. Yeah, to the nations we proclaim his Kudash name. Yahuwah, Yahuwah, Yah, Yah. Send you the first. Send you the first, we going out, out. Send you the first.
You said.
Send you the first, we going out, out.
From Symbion to Benjamin, we need every man out here standing. Got sisters home and they praying while they brothers in the field slaying.
Slaying demons in sorrow. Hamashiach, we do follow. Sword the truth, we loud no mute. We lenders out here, we know no borrow.
Jacob's seed is undefeated when y'all's greeted with praise and leads us through a war without a grievance. Till the win is completed, then we return with our pieces.
Peace banger, peace be still with the Rangers. Mighty Morphin, we hang them up the drive, they can hang on, hang on.
Let's go.
Send you the first, send you the first, we going. Send you the first, Send you the first. We gon' send you the first. Send you the first. We gon'